Good morning. Welcome to Richard Toy Princess. I'm Allison Troy, and my guest is Chris Plastic. Hi, Chris.
Hello, sorry, I closed the wrong window right as we were going live.
It's fine. I was like, oh, Chris has had too much of Allison Troy today, too. I'm enjoying everyone from the live stream last night. It was like, that's a little too much Allison this week. So, yeah. Anyway, really quick.
Nobody cares, Moby. Nobody cares. No one. Nobody.
Yeah, so I've got
Nobody.
some media clips, and then this is the one I should have played for
You're a
you.
mess, Carl.
Anyway, all right. So, yeah, we're live. And I have got Return of the Jedi on the thumbnail. I'm probably going to color some Return of the Jedi, but I basically told Chris pick some Star Wars for himself. So, Chris, what are you coloring today?
Well, I have Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul ready to go. Just hanging out, doing whatever.
Oh, they
look
look
like you do.
Yeah, they're having a good time, it looks like. So, and I've got Chewbacca and an ATST, or if we're going AST, like I think that's how you pronounce. Yeah, because there's the whole like, thanks to Dan Larson now, there's the whole for LOM or for LOM debate, and frankly, both are valid.
Yeah, I think AT or AT is more variable. Where an ATSD, you don't atst it. No one atst. Rolling around in my atst.
Yeah. See, with somebody like myself who had to work really hard in speech therapy as a child and never fully conquered my lisp, the asks, yeah, no, it's triggering.
Oh man, thank goodness we have two people who did speech therapy as kids on the same stream.
Yeah, right? I still can't, there are a lot of words I still can't say. You just,
R's, S's, and P's.
Yeah. So I just don't say them. I will write a script and I'll put the words in them. And then when I'm doing my verbal run through, like the practices, I'm like, why did I even put that in there? I still can't say that. My speech therapy teacher from 1982 would be so disappointed. I never got it. But I've seen her husband, so she has way bigger things to be disappointed in rather than her teaching failing me. And so, anyway. So what have you been up to, Mr. Plastic?
Well, I participated in May the Power of the Force on Friday, which was a lot of fun. Yesterday, I got to hang out with Lucha Johnny on Geek the F Out.
I saw some of that. I didn't get to do the whole thing because obviously groceries, but it looks like originally you started out with a plan and then it just turned into hanging out.
Well, the thing is I think Johnny has kind of a loose outline that he doesn't share with you, so you're in for the ride.
Cool.
And then we went off on Casa Bonita once the cameras stopped streaming. So, why not?
I would have missed that anyway. Good morning, CJ. I hope you're feeling better today. You mentioned last night you weren't feeling well. So, hopefully you're better. It's me and Chris Plastic today. Okay, there we go. I had that wait, it's on my screen. It's in front of my face. And it was a moment of, I don't know what you call that, dissociation, where you're like, oh my God. And then I have the one screen picked up so that I can see what people see.
Yeah, and, I have a monitor now actually just to the right of where I'm coloring, so I can try to see what the camera actually sees now.
Yeah, so I had a moment where it's like, wait, where do I color? Because it's all around me. It was very much 2001. Are you sure about that, Dave? Kind of moment, like, oh my God, we're about to go through the rainbow wormhole and end up in a weird Victorian house.
Like you do.
Good morning, Thanos Copter. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Thanos hung out with us for a while last night on my clubhouse takeover. Hopefully everyone survived. I'm sure there are some casualties today because I've never thrown a party where there weren't some casualties the day after. At least this time I know it won't be like Tiffany calling me to get mad that somebody made out with her boyfriend in my bathroom and it was me. I don't know who would have done that, Tiffany. Oh my god, your boyfriend's kind of gross. Ew.
Nasty.
I'll ask around. Man,
Oh man, I love that story ended that way. Oh man,
right?
who would have
I
done
mean,
that?
you have a couple beers in your 20s and then chase it with a couple Jaeger Monster shots and then you do a tequila shot or two, and ugly men are just more attractive. You're like,
Uh,
no personality? Sure.
Tequila's been helping me out my entire life.
Bad taste in women based on your girlfriend who's my friend? I'm not going to internalize that until later. Let's go make out. Come on, Carl. Anyway.
I mean, to be fair, I remember, high school girlfriend going, I think the lead singer of Green Day's kind of hot. And that's when he still had like kind of the jacked up teeth. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what does that mean about me?
Oh, well, see, but the thing is, the celebrities are in a different barometer. I mean, and you can tell because Phil Collins has had many wives, and he looks like a foot. So, like you can't get, like anyone who's like, well, like if Moby can get chicks, it's like, but there are people who will just throw things at you because you've got money. Like you can't compare yourself to somebody with that. I mean, like Elon Musk has been partnered up several times, and that's clearly just because of money and blackmail. So he looks like an uncooked egg, an unwashed potato.
He's paid good money to look like that at this point.
I know. I'm glad his gender affirming care has worked out for him. Because it hasn't. You still look like an unwashed potato, sir. Anyway, let's not talk about Grimes' ex-boyfriend. I don't want him to show up and cry. They were talking mean about me on the internet. Poor guy.
I have to buy YouTube now.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'll get a money offer from him to spawn one of his babies. Oh, see, exact. Andrew here with the 411 on Phil Collins. Much like Huey Lewis.
The other day, Andrew liked one of my Instagram photos, so I was looking at his Facebook page. I'm like, man, he's got a cute dog, and half his pictures are in the tub.
Yep. Andrew's got his, like, Instagram on lockdown. It's like toys, cute dog, bathtub. Like, he knows what's up.
He's like, check out this great sweater in my dog and a bathtub.
Now let's talk about MIA ladies of the 80s. It's like, it's perfect. Like, some of that is, exactly what I'm looking for on the internet. But the thing is, enough of it is that I'm just along for all of it.
There you go.
I'm just like, yeah, I'll give a heart for the bathtub selfie. Like, yeah, let's do that. It's cute. And help the algorithm push this to the people who need this in their life so they can know what they're missing. Yeah, see, this CJ is why we're all on Instagram still. It's not really so we can all stay in touch. It's so that we can see Andrew's bathtub selfies.
Oh, I assume she was talking about his time married to Phil Collins.
Phil Collins? That too, yeah, okay. Fair. There are a couple different options as to what the CJ could be referencing, so we got you, girl. But yeah, so anyway, let's see. We've insulted Phil Collins, Elon Musk, and Moby. It's typical day in my world.
We're just getting started.
Right? We started a little late, so we are only 10 minutes in, folks. Just imagine. Exact. Dogs, Toys, and Thirst Traps. That's your autobiography name, the memoir. It came from Canada. Dogs, Toys, and Thirst Traps. The Unconventional Life of Andrew. You have to be in a leather jacket and have like a haircut of either Brandon or Dylan from 1994 on 90210. Yeah, so that it's proper. All right. It's now time to play the feud. All right. There we go. I guess.
I've been on YouTube more the last 3 days than I have like the last 2 months. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you are kind of like breaking, so I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
Do you miss YouTubing?
I didn't until I kind of did that May the Power of the Force. I'm like, oh yeah, this is fun. I forgot that it's fun.
That's the thing. You have to have fun with it. That's why, like, I know there are a few people like, why don't you? And I know because they ask me, they're like, why don't you do more toy content? I'm like, because the toy content, I get burned out and it's less fun if I do too much of it. It's a slog. Whereas with the coloring, I can just set up the camera and color. And I will say there are times where I'm like, why am I filming 17,000 pages this week? There are those moments, but the sense of accomplishment when I finish one of the coloring videos is a lot different. Like with the toy content, I'm always like, I could have done so much better. Like, I always rip those apart and like, which is good. But with the coloring, it's always like, I could have edited that better. But I always, at the end of a coloring video, feel like I did the best I could with it. There are a few cases where I'm not, and I'll do. But eventually I can turn those into more coloring videos. Like, I did these pages. They sucked. I hated them. Watch me try to fix it. Like, I can turn that into content to, like, satisfy, like, my dissatisfaction with my work on those. Whereas with toys, it's just always like, oh my God, I wish I had known how to do this or that. And so since it's way more of a learning curve, right now I enjoy, like I do feel accomplished when I complete a toy video, but I much rather do fewer of those so that I can get better on it, and then that way people can still be. And I'm in a weird niche on YouTube, and I'm not going to complain because I get people who just like everything, like enjoy all of the content I do, and they're here because of my weird mixture of content, and so that I feel like is just what I need to work toward. Give them
That's
the weird toy stuff and the coloring.
That's the place to be. And I will be perfectly honest. My May the Power of the Force video was one take. I did it in my live streaming setup. Just hit record, did it. The only edit was adding, an overlay that said hashtag May the Power of the Force, and that was it.
Yeah.
Pushed it out.
It came out pretty good. Like, it was solid. Like, you do those videos really well. Like, all of your bat wing videos were good. And hello to Rhea. Lovely to see you today. And then hello, Black Phoenix. Why, thank you. And thank you for watching the ads. I appreciate you. Well, my cut will be a little bit less than 25 cents, but I appreciate getting a cut out of that. I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I thought people complain, but again, I'm just now to the point where they will pay me for stuff. So when I see a video be like 3 cents, I'm like, oh my God, 3 cents. It's amazing. The views are low, but I made 3 cents. So it's been helpful, actually. I feel a lot less stressed. I'm not constantly checking stats to see what's doing what. I just go and I'm like, well, 17 people watched it, but I made 2 pennies. It's a win, y'all. So.
Well, and like the way I see it is like I've gained so much just friends and community, and I've gotten to chat with like toy creators and stuff. It's cool. It's a kind of a cool thing to get to do.
I got to meet Dan Larson and do a stream with him about Star Wars toys. Like, I'm just gonna say all that's left on my ToyTube wish list is I need to meet Pixel Dan.
Oh
and
man,
I mean, like, it would even be like, like a stream like this, I would consider meeting.
I am a little jelly that you got to chat it up with Dan Larson because
It was
the
it was
coolest.
hard the first 5 to 10 minutes where I'm like, this is Dan Larson. And then at some point I was just like, it's Stan Larson. So like it really quickly stopped being intimidating. At the end, after the stream was over, I'm like, sorry if I was awkward. It's really exciting to finally meet you. You're one of the few people who do this that I really like admire and think you do good work. And then I'm like, I hope Jay didn't take that personally. Like, I didn't mean that about you, Jay. Anyway.
Well, the problem is like you actually kind of work for Jay a little bit.
Yeah, so exactly. Like Jay and I chat a lot, so it's like if there had ever been a moment of intimidation, like also when we all joined sort of the Discord and like channel membership and stuff, it was a lot. The channel was smaller, so he was a lot more present.
Well,
So
yeah, in
it,
those early days, he would give you any piece of advice, anything you wanted. No,
yeah,
he was there.
because he had more time, right? Like,
Yep.
because I think part of that was there was a point there where it seemed like he was between jobs and he was just sort of YouTubing full time. And that was really early on when we were all there. So it's like it was slightly different than if you were to join Geek Dad Life now, where it's like he just doesn't full-time job, full-time channel, full-time family life, like it's just a different, and that's good. That means he's doing well. But it was just I thought that afterwards. I'm like, no, Jay and I are literally text messaging. So good morning, Pod Racing Palpatine. That is a great name. Hello, how are you? That's a great name. I enjoy that.
Now that's pod racing.
Right? And then CJ, inform the troops the Emperor has arrived. Hello, Palpatine.
And he rolled up in a sick pod racer.
Yeah. I bet Palpatine does have a great pod racer. And I know people are like, he's too big for it. It's like, just suspend your disbelief and imagine how rockin' that pod racer probably is. I bet he's got like one of those airbrush lightning bolts on both sides. Like my uncle's old van.
Yeah,
like
this baby right here is Sith Lightning.
Yeah. Oh my. Oh, Chris, that's gold. And now in my head I have the whole song trying to happen. So you just won the internet today, Chris.
Well, the problem is it's Robot Chicken Palpatine in my head at all times. So
right. Is that or did you make that up, or is that from Robot Chicken?
It may have been on Robot Chicken. Okay. I don't know, but they did come from my brain.
Okay, so we're gonna give it to you, and then if somebody later finds it on Robot Chicken, it's not Chris trying to steal it. It's just that we're old and can't remember.
Right, my brain is failing at all times, so
it happens. It happens. All right, I'm gonna do this really quick. There we go. I'm gonna pop off camera because I keep looking up and seeing the top of my head, and nobody needs that today. And since you're not on there, it works. And that way, if I accidentally start picking my nose, you guys won't know.
Yeah, guilty over here. Good news.
Every so often, you're just like, what's hanging out here? Oh my God, where did that come from? And you're just like, oh, that's me. That's how I filter the world around me. It's full of chunks and stuff. No, just kidding. Not maybe, I don't know.
Every once in a while, it's like, there's a tickle at my nose. Oh, it's a nose hair. Oh, God, I'm old.
Oh, my God. I got one time an ingrown nose hair.
Oh.
And I didn't know what it was, so I went to the doctor convinced I had, like, some sort of cancerous growth. And he was like, no. And he went in there with the little, like, tweezers and the little scalpel and, like, pulled out this ginormous hair that had ingrown. There are times where you feel, especially it was in my 30s as well, and they're weird chemical things that start happening to your body in your 30s, and you feel like everything's going, and then in your 40s it's triple. But this is my first time where I was like, my body is getting weird since puberty, of course, and then that time I did all this tequila shots in Cancun, but But those are all different things. But I mean, like the hair was so long, it had like grown up and in and around. And it looks like if you've ever have one of those old weed whackers where it's like it's the like that like filament that like circles and it's like just a big coil. That's what it was like. It came coiling out. It was just like
Oh,
it was horrific. Horrific.
those are the white hairs I pluck from my mustache.
So
Whatever
apparently
reason, they're curly and ugh.
Pod Racing Palpatine's Greased Force Lightning is the name of his pod. So,
Okay.
well, there you go.
Setting the record straight. Thank you.
He came up with a name, just imagining what Palpatine would do if he was bored of funding Death Star. You know, like he really should have just done the typical like midlife crisis thing and just bought a fancy pod racer instead of trying to blow up and dominate the universe. He would have been much happier. And we know at some point he got some because Rey is his granddaughter. So like everyone's like, it was from a clone. I'm like, oh, you know, at some point Palpatine was like, oh, look at that senator from Plantenton 17. Look at her.
It's the Phil Collins situation, you know?
100%. You know, no matter how bad Palpatine looked after the incident with Mace Windu, there were still women who were like, you know, he's really hot.
You know, power is attractive.
He melted my heart like Mace melted his face. Influencers, like, he is just the hottest in the galaxy. I don't care what you say.
Oh no. Now I've got like a whole like stream of like MAGA style Imperial influencers talking about how powerful Emperor Palpatine is. In my head.
Red hat. No, his hat would be not be. He wouldn't have a red hat. Like, what would they? They would wear just hats with the Imperial signal on it. The signa, is it? That would be funny. Hello, Nolan. Welcome to the horror show of what we're picturing.
It's all nightmares
Are
now.
you on Instagram Pod Racing Palpatine? Because I now want to see this. I want to see the Palpatine pod on out of Lego because it sounds epic. I have to try. I bet I could. I'll look for you on there if you have pictures. Andrew Rich with a monster Sith. Oh my god. Yeah, the sigil, the little symbol of the Empire, the little round thing with the stuff in it that they have on their uniforms. So,
You know, we talked about how much the Death Star cost. How much do you think they put into development of that logo? They're like, we got to rebrand the entire galaxy.
Yeah, like they probably had some person like on Coruscant at the Nabooian marketing company. We will figure out how to help you rebrand for your global domination of the galaxy. Our people have generations of experience. All right, let's see. Pod Racing Palpatine is on IG as Nuclear Jawa. I'm looking you up right now so I don't forget. And of course, I haven't logged into Instagram in like 30 minutes. I'm getting 3,000 alerts. Oh my god, people. I know, I'm so popular. Thank you. Yes, yes. All right, there we go. Nuclear. Oh my god. If I could spell. Oh, you're obviously the right people, followed by Dave's Dimensions, Rolando, Universal Toy Collector. Yeah, all right, there we go. Oh, puppies. All right. All right, I will stalk your Instagram profile later looking for the cool stuff. But I'm following you now, so that was totally me. I know, Todd. I know. But to be fair, part of the first back-to-back show was just so that Clubhouse would happen while Oz is taking a break. Because a lot of people, that's their Saturday night, the community, etc. So I was like, let me host. And I've been off for a while, having life, and things are going to be pretty busy here coming. So I'm like, let me help keep the show going while Oz is on break. And I hope I did. As I mentioned earlier, I don't think there were any casualties. There could have been. I haven't heard yet. Nobody has sent me an angry message letting me know what a terrible person I am about Clubhouse. I mean, I've got family who knows how to find me that routinely let me know I'm terrible and I'm the worst and how dare I, and
First of all, how dare you?
yeah, how dare you? You're the worst. You're a disappointment to us all. And I just reply to them, good. I'm succeeding in life if you're sad. Maybe you should have had your own children so you would be able to stop living vicariously through my failure and could focus on where your kids would be, probably jail. So. I do need to call my aunt soon, though. I heard Horrible Bitch Day is coming up, and since that's the day we celebrate her, I need to let her know. Hey, thinking of you.
Thinking about you today.
I'm thinking of you on your day, your special day. Oh, thank you, Nolan. I tried. I really tried. I tried to stay out of it mostly and just run it so everyone else could do their thing. Which one?
I think he was joking about sending you a bad message.
Oh, got it. Yeah, see, there you go. This is why. Oh, that's a good quote, Andrew. What's that from? Your memoir? I'm rich, I'm famous, I'm successful, I'm bankable, and that's enough for me. That's not how Andrew would say that, though. It would be like, hi, I'm Andrew. This is Gady's Toys. I'm rich, I'm famous, I'm successful, I'm bankable, and that's enough for me. Now let's talk about these toy companies screwing us over on the figures we really want.
Sorry, I was just imagining Stuart Smalley giving that in the mirror.
Oh, I'm good enough. Oh, yeah, no, that would be terrible. Poor Stuart. He really wasn't good enough or smart enough, and nobody really liked him. So.
No.
But at least he had confidence.
That's more than most.
Yeah, it's true. He had all of the confidence of a much more attractive man. Or a ridiculously wealthy man. Or Phil Collins, so which is all of the three, I guess. According to Andrew. Oh, wait.
Phil Collins is the total package.
Wait, it's since we're talking about Phil Collins.
You're a mess, Carl.
It will never get old. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just never going to be tired of that or this.
Everybody's so creative.
I'm going to save that for when I have a guest and they're like, I think I did a terrible job. I'm going to just hit that. They're like, no, you're so creative. And then, you know. And I know it's kind of rude and funny, but if Muriel we can ever line back up, because Muriel would always mess up. Like she would like squeeze out too much paint or something. And then like and it would always look fine, but she's like, it's so terrible. So if we can ever line up so Muriel can join me again when she has her moment, I'm gonna hit the everybody's so creative for her. Because I think she's the one who first sent me videos of that lady. I miss Muriel. Hopefully she'll be able to come home from Europe and visit for a little bit in a few months. Now that we have a proper guest room where she can stay. But yeah. Oh, your mall is coming along nicely.
Yeah, trying to kind of start with some lighter colors before we get real dramatic with him. Also, I'm cheating. I have the Hot Toys Mall on my computer screen right now.
How is that cheating? I've got a Chewbacca and I've got a picture on my screen of what technically this is supposed to look like. I use references all the time. Even when it doesn't seem like I do. There are times where I'm just like, I'm just going to make this whatever color. And if one of the people have commentary on that, I'll be like, it's an artistic decision. And then that helps with engagement anyway.
What do you mean Chewbacca's not purple?
It still hurts my heart. There was one time where somebody commented on one of my videos, I could do so much better. And I replied, well, okay, well, when you do, let me know. I'd be happy to go watch that. And they've not done that yet. And it just hurts my heart. Like, I want to see you do better than me, sir. Please. Please back it up. Don't just say you can. Like, I need you to reply to me in a video where you're doing better. And so, anyway.
I mean, I would start that video with like, "Hey, Allison, here you go."
Right, exactly. Like, bring it, sir. If you're gonna talk smack in the comments, bring it. Like,
Now, I think in one of my very first Batwing videos, I did start with like, "Ryan Dole says it's dumb. Jay Gladfelter says it's a waste of money." But I did actually message both of them beforehand and went,
yeah, right.
"Hey."
You just need a clip of Johnny New Toys. And, like, Johnny New Toys says this toy is stupid.
Well, I think you're stupid, Johnny.
Right. Look at this thumbnail, Johnny. Did you make that in Blender or Canva? No.
So
Still
what if
no.
you have more subscribers and prettier face?
But at least I don't have to put boobies on every third thumbnail so people will watch.
It's my secret, Johnny. They're not watching anyway.
Your click-through rate is 5, but the actual people drop off in 20 seconds. We all know. Oh my god. We're so rude. Right? Exactly. Everybody's so creative. Wait, I can't do it myself.
Everybody's
now.
so creative.
Like, I can't anymore. It just seems wrong when I've got the original. Oh, this, I got Dispara. I got 3 because I have a problem. No, I got 3 because it's Shira, right? And I always buy an extra Shira to keep mint on card. And then I want to display her in both looks, both with the Hordak head and with the normal head. And then I can use the extra parts from the non-display ones to kit bash some stuff. So it'll be cool.
I got one myself, so I'm very excited.
Oh, you did? Cool.
Yeah.
You don't often get Motu, right?
Motu, I get primarily Shira, to be honest.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, because I remembered like you weren't very heavily. I mean, you know, like you've got to save money for bat wings.
Right. Even though I returned the last one I bought, so.
Was it a
Batwing.
McFarlane Batwing or?
It was the re-release of the animated series one.
Well, I mean, it's not like you don't have that one. So.
I actually don't.
Not
I just
anymore.
don't have room.
It's true. Batwings do take a lot of room. Especially when you've got the gold, all gold special edition, the Joker ass Batwing.
Well, and I have the Ghost, which I don't know what to do with.
This Batwing saw Simon Le Bon at a liquor store in La Brea 2 years ago. Oh, that was my claim to when I went to LA. One of the times we went to a liquor store in La Brea, and my friend was like, "That's Simon Le Bon." I'm like, "Why is he buying bottom shelf vodka?" And she just looked at me. It's been a really long time since they've had a big hit. I died. So anyway, yeah, I saw Simon Le Bon one time in a liquor store in La Brea. Do, 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 do. Sorry. Oh, Simon Le Bon. Where did our love go wrong? Probably because you're like 30 years older than me. Thanos got one. Yeah, like, it's hard if you're not. Like, Motu Origins is the one thing I'm all in on right now. So it's easier for me. Like, there are some things I'm picking up almost all of, but I'm not really all in on any other new toy line right now. And even Star Wars. I've been cherry picking Star Wars for about 20 years now. It's impossible to be all in at this point with Star Wars. There's just so much. And so much of it is like reissue. Like, I thought differently during the Power of the Force era, but I really don't need 3 different versions of, you know, Alien who's in 3 scenes, or, like 17,000 Jedi Lukes. And that'll be, once I start putting the Star Wars stuff, display up, I'm going to try to go through and, pick like the definitive version of each character for the display. Because otherwise I would need like a warehouse to display my entire Star Wars collection.
That was my goal with all my Batman, and then it just fell apart. Just definitive versions only. Got another one put on the shelf.
Yeah, Nolan, Despara is Adora from one of the comic books. That's like Force Captain Adora, and yeah, it's like an alt-reality She-Ra. I'm thinking part of it was also because like it's really specific in how they can and can't use She-Ra characters, Princess of Power characters, because of sort of the development. They can 100% use the toy Princess of Power stuff, but anything from Filmation they can't really use. So to have She-Ra as a member of the Horde in the beginning, they had to kind of recreate it and do something so different that the people who own the Filmation rights couldn't say, you're just barely changing that. It has to be pretty radically different for it to, it has to be in line with the original Mattel stuff. Because they can. Anything that was released as a toy, they technically have rights to re-release. Anything from the Mattel style guides, which is why whenever Princess of Power was getting released in classics, it would sort of be Filmation look, but often would be different colors in Filmation because those were the colors in the style guide. So, and of course they were like, no, but nobody wants the toy versions. It's like, sir, we only want the toy versions. The He-Man fans want the cartoon versions. Princess of Power fans want the toy versions because that's what we played with. Get it together. Yeah, I cherry pick G.I. Joe as well. I do not collect Transformers, although I do want to get some form of RC at some point.
I picked up some blocky Transformers today because I finally caved.
For Motu, I'm only all in on Origins. I cherry pick Masterverse. There's just too much of that. And anything that's not Origins or Masterverse is pretty much, like, I'm not going to be doing any Mondo. No matter how good the Mondo She-Ra looked, no matter how good the Mondo She-Ra and Swift one looks, just not my jam. It's too expensive. Yeah, and that's kind of a good way to go to.
I'm thinking I might maybe do some of the 112 Motu 2000X stuff from Mondo. We'll see though.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I might do like say Tila and Evelyn, but otherwise, I mean, all I had from vintage 2000X toys, because they're vintage now, people. It's over 20 years. Get over it. Was Tila and Evelyn, and I've got the She-Ra, the like San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 2000X She-Ra. But otherwise, I didn't pick any of those up. the sculpts did not speak to me the way that they did to some people, and that's fine. But I
I
do
just
like the looks, so I'll buy them in Origins.
yeah the designs were great.
Yeah. I think the toys were just too, and again, this is sort of where action figures still were when those were coming out. It was all too, like too posed, too stylized.
Thanks, Todd.
I like, yeah, right. Thanks, Todd. I prefer a very neutral, like being able to get the character should come like in a very neutral pose with enough posability for you to get sort of various looks. And
Uh,
which is kind of why I like Origins a lot. Like as a kid, I was not fond of Motu posability, and I thought they looked like baby toys. And then Tila, I was like, Tila is really cool. Okay, fine, I'm in. But as a kid, whenever my brother got the first like 4 figures, I was like, these look really cheap. The plastic feels really cheap. These look like baby toys. Of course, my brother did not care for that. And then, of course, months later, I bought Tila and Zodak. And I'm like, I'll play with your baby toys. They're cool now. These are cool now. Hello, GI Chatman. Lovely to see you. And welcome to Rowdy Riles. Good morning. Hopefully you're getting off of work. Almost done with the trees. You can see the Wookiee for the trees now. Oh my God. Stop. But yeah.
Speaking of pre-posed action figures, I have the not Total Justice JLA or not super Wonder Woman on the way now.
Oh, nice. I've almost picked that up a couple times because other than some of the posability issues, like it's a pretty nice figure. And it's the only like proper toy version of Perez Wonder Woman. Like I know there was the DC Direct one. I have her. But that was, not really a great toy. And all of her gold, like I was looking at her the other day, all of her gold has like turned colors now. And I went and looked on eBay. I'm like, well, maybe it's just mine because I haven't stored it. And it's like even ones that are still mint and packaged, the gold has gone to pot. So I might, once I get all this, sort of customizing workshop area set up, I might just repaint her gold so that it doesn't look like dark brown.
That the plastic they used for DC Direct is not great.
It has a weird smell to it that smells like it's got pepper in it somehow. I don't know how to explain it better than that. It's just a weird, like peppery smell to me.
Well, and I've had to like repair a couple joints over the years on a few of them because they used clear plastic for all the pegs in their joints.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, they often feel like they're really stiff and really like it feels like plastic that's not supposed to be used for toys. And so anyway, sorry DC Direct, you suck.
Well, they
But
don't
not as
exist
bad
anymore,
as
so it's
Todd.
well. I guess they do exist, and it's run by Todd.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty tall. But she was also supposedly like 6'1" in the comics at that point. So, oh, nice. Well, not nice that you dropped it, but I think it's nice that you have it. Let me rephrase that. There we go. But yeah, I don't know. It's like DC. Like I have a couple of the pocket superheroes. Those are pretty cool. But I just in general like DC Direct, like a lot of the figures, like the limbs would bend really easy, and then they would be sort of off kilter, and then they wouldn't, or like you would sometimes get them and then realize like one leg was shorter than the other. Like it There was so much quality, which is disappointing because a lot of those figures look really good. They're really well sculpted, well designed, iconic. Like it's basically like if, oh God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. If McFarlane were to actually have just sort of, redone all of the figures DC Direct gave us with better plastic, I think it would have been fine.
Which is what they're doing with the animated figures, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them have a terrible cell shading, but
I don't get cell shading. Like, I get, like, like, why people like the idea of it, but it just, in a three-dimensional thing, it doesn't look right. Like, the shading is to make it look three-dimensional, people. When it's actually three-dimensional, it's just gonna look weird. For that to look good, you need paper dolls. Which would be cool if Todd McFarlane did a series of cel-shaded paper dolls. But of course, we all know that would involve making too many girl figures.
hate it.
He would despise it so much because he's bored.
That's the reason I'm having such a hard time finding Phantasm. I just figured it out. It's because Phantasm's a woman.
He didn't realize until after he approved it. He's like, yeah, let's do Phantasm. Oh my God, it's a woman.
Short packet.
Damn it. I thought there was a man under there. That's what she told me when I met her on the Sunset Strip. I'm sorry, Todd. I'm sorry, Todd.
Can we have someone steal that truck, please?
Right. Please steal the Phantasm truck. So that we can move past Todd's transphobia, people. Because that's all it is. That's all it is Todd is the worst. Well, actually, in Todd's case, if he picked up a man on the Sunset Strip and then it turned out, to his sensibilities, that it was a woman underneath. I don't know. How do we unpack Todd's transphobia on a Sunday morning stream when I have not had enough coffee? I can't do it, guys. I'm sorry. We're not going to solve why Todd McFarlane is transphobic today. I can't do it. This is a subject for another day.
We gotta save that for the Unsolved Mysteries.
I will save that for Alice and Troy Unsolved. And get a theme song for that. And that's the thing, Rowdy Riles. We all hate Todd McFarlane. Even Todd hates himself.
The world's most New York Canadian.
On CJ, try brush her actual house so it looks like a real wargaming house. I'm dead. I am dead. And hello, Speaking Moistly. Lovely to see you. And again, we're lucky we've got Todd C here, who is the good Todd. We're so fortunate to have a good Todd. Like, it takes, like, what's the old saying? It's just, you need a good guy with a gun. Like, you need a good Todd. Like, he's not a jerk. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Once he's no longer holding DC hostage, I say we all start doing weekly streams where we psychoanalyze Todd McFarlane. Like, we just want you to be a better person, Todd, so we can buy more toys from you. We only want to change you so that we can give you money. Why do you hate yourself that you keep fighting this? I mean, that's the problem. This is why I am frustrated with him. And why he's the closest I will ever come to sounding like the typical toy tuber who's always complaining. Because, like, we literally just want to give him money. And I think it's easier for me to, people are like, you're not this hard on Hasbro. True, because I know Hasbro, it goes through, like, a series of, like, like, you've got your creative team, and I've chatted enough with the creative team, sort of unofficially, to know they want to give us what we want. Because that's what they want for their shelves, and that's what they're interested in. But it then has to get approved by Hasbro, which we all know, like, money, right? But then it has to go to Lucasfilm and Disney. So it's not even just Lucasfilm like it was back in the day. It's also Lucasfilm and Disney. So like it's a lot easier to be like, well, they're just not making what we want because it's this big process. Todd McFarlane is the process.
And
Like
there's
Todd,
also not like Henry Hasbro sitting on a live stream going, so yeah, I was sculpting a G.I. Joe.
yeah, exactly, right? And I get like there's licenses, but we also know that as far as DC goes, Warner Brothers is a lot more way less control freak bitch about it than like Disney is and Marvel is. Like DC is a lot easier to work with. I mean, even Scott Nutlick had said this when he was talking about DC Classics. DC was one of the easiest licensors that they had worked with, like because they're just not as they seem to be a little bit more creator mind. They are like we've got this movie coming out, you need to make some toys from it, but they're not quite as like nope, you can only do these characters. So it's I think that's why a lot of us, or at least I'm speaking for myself, I think why I'm more frustrated and more willing to get on the internet and talk smack about Todd McFarlane is of all of the companies, he's one of the ones that has the fewest loopholes, and the buck stops almost always with him.
One, he said that Warner Brothers lets him do basically anything he wants.
Yeah. Well, even like that weird Joker like talk show playset that he did, he basically said that he wanted to do it and he did it, but the reason it was so big was that was one of the loopholes that he had to, like they're like, well, it has to be like, within these parameters because it's not very friendly. And
Right,
to be
can't be
fair,
in store,
yeah, like there are a lot of reasons you probably may not want your kids in Target to see the Joker talk show playset and have to explain to them if they haven't seen it. But at the same time, he still got to make the toy he wanted to make because Warner Brothers still gave him enough leeway to like make it happen. So I get more frustrated, I think, with him than other toy companies because he is so able to do so much and he just doesn't. And I don't know. I try not to go full on Karen, but exactly, Nolan. That's what it always comes down to. Yeah. We can call him Mr. McFarlane. Oh, that's amazing. That's so good. That's good. It's a good one. Yeah, this is a good point because Toy Otter does some amazing work with superpowers. And they did kind of ask, and he's still, and Toy Otter has said a few times, like, he didn't ask for a lot of money. He just asked for some money. And apparently it was just too much.
Well, and then I think the other thing he said is that they kind of wanted him exclusive too, and he didn't want to do
Yeah,
that.
and I think that's but I think that's where the money thing came in. If you want somebody to be exclusive to you, you're going to have to pay for them to be exclusive because we do live in a day and age where if you're an artist, even a digital sculptor, like, it's not like it's AI generated toys. If you're an actual artist who makes these things and has the know-how how to make these things, like, to be limited to one company, like, you got to make it worth their effort. So, especially with so much of the toy industry going freelance for sculpting and stuff. I mean, pretty much that's my guess what Super 7 is going to do now is they're just going to hire people for a particular figure and then hire somebody else for another one.
I also assume that Super 7 is going to be mostly just reaction here on out.
Yeah, I think they're going to just, and there seems to be a lot of re-releasing of existing molds of stuff that was hard to get before or has been long out of print, which to a degree is going to suck for people who you know, sort of maybe paid a lot, but also at the same time, a lot of Super 7 doesn't have like a return on investment. So, I mean, nobody should be buying toys with the idea of, oh, it's going to be worth so much money and I'll be able to sell it later.
Toy flipping is not a good business plan.
Yeah. And I've heard some people like, well, if you buy this toy that's like $500, it will always be $500. And it's like, not even that is accurate.
Yeah, I like Mythic Legions. You used to be able to flip for a decent profit, but that's disappearing.
It's so speaking moistly. He did not make enough Batmans. Oh,
That'll be his Rosebud moment on
right,
his deathbed. Like, I should have made more Batman.
right. His tombstone will say, "Never enough Batmans." Yep, I think those are classics, right? Where they would have the collect and connect figures in
Yeah,
them.
the DCUCs. Yeah.
It's weird. Super 7, like a lot of their money appears to be made through merch these days. So I don't know. Like I can't. I think also though it's really I forget who. I think maybe it might be Dan Larson who said this. If it wasn't, we're just gonna say it was because he's cool. But I think he brought up a point on a stream I was watching where we as toy collectors we forget that there is sort of a bigger audience out there, and there are people who probably will pick up like, you know, a reaction of like Biggie Smalls or whatever to put on their desk. And that's not something necessarily we're going to buy. And we're not necessarily going to see that because we're not necessarily working in those jobs. But it's the same with, you know, Funko Pop is sort of reaching a point where like people aren't buying them anymore. But for a really long time, people would just buy Funko Pops. They don't collect any toys, but hey, like it's really cool to like have this character I love sitting on my desk as a bobblehead. And so I think a lot of Super 7 has survived in that capacity. I think that sort of casual purchasing is in the current economy is down. So I don't know, you know, some of their recent moves as far as like sort of re-releasing the Thundercat Ultimate sort of in more budget friendly packaging, you know, like there's fewer head sculpts, fewer hands. I think some of that is them trying to obviously make money, but also just sort of an acknowledgement that like some of their business model for a while has been long-term untenable unless if the economy is not great. So I have, you know, like I've picked up a few. I have the Ultimates April O'Neil, but you know, and she's sort of, and it's almost like that because Turtles for me, I have no actual investment in. I was not in toys when they started coming out. My brother loved them. I liked April because my brother and his friends would play toys, and if I was babysitting, I would be April. And she's a cool character. Like, so I dig April. You know, and like for a long time, I had an April O'Neil on my cool lady action figure shelf. But that's sort of my only real sort of investment in the Turtles is April O'Neil. So I have an Ultimates April O'Neil, but I don't have any of the others. And I'll never have any of the others because I just sort of am not invested in Turtles. So. Yeah, I've wondered that too about the Super Friends, CJ. Wonder Woman, I would assume we're gonna get. I think Batgirl we could probably get because it's the same scale as Batman 66, and there was a Batgirl in that line. Supergirl, possibly.
I imagine the Batgirl in the line, if they do it, will just be almost just a redeco of the 77 Filmation.
Yeah,
Was that Filmation?
yeah, it was the New Adventures of Batman.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they do, they've got that to redo, and like I think a Super Friends Wonder Woman would be pretty easy. But Supergirl seems like he might be able to justify. I mean, we don't know what he's. I didn't remember seeing that he was going to release some sort of Wonder Woman Supergirl from the 1984 movie. So it is entirely possible that as part of that he sculpted in a way. I mean, you could reuse some of the parts in theory, I guess. Although everything is completely different from the costume to her look around that time. And so, I don't know. We'll see. And you can't even actually reuse the same head because she had different hair. But I will say, I think, but also in that 7-inch scale, he is a little bit more willing to do the occasional woman figure. I don't understand why he's basically throwing scraps in his other lines. I don't understand why Superpowers is why he's just going so hard with the no women in that line other than repainting the same Wonder Woman 17,000 times. It's just such a weird. Yeah, and again, there's no way he doesn't know. DC and Warner Brothers went to him about Toy Otter, asking why aren't you doing these things? It just, I don't know. I don't know where the ego for him, what the point of all of that is, because it just keeping us some really cool toys. So.
Well, and I assume there's only 3 waves left in Superpowers.
Yeah. Let's see. No, yep, they are planning a 40th anniversary She-Ra that is Barbie. And I don't know if they're going to use parts from the San Diego Comic-Con and PowerCon exclusive She-Ra dolls, or if it's going to be an actual Barbie with new parts. So they haven't actually shown this yet.
I just got my hands on the Princess of Powers Shadow Weaver Barbie 2-pack, and I'm really glad I got them.
Which one?
The DreamWorks.
Oh yeah, I've got that
2-pack.
one. That's a pretty cool set. I need to open mine up and display it. I had somebody who Cobweb Collector was at the Mattel store in California, and they apparently had a couple in there, and he messaged me to see if I needed one. I'm like, hell yeah, I need one.
That's
and it
awesome.
was retail. It wasn't like eBay scalper price. So I sent Mr. Cobweb some money for the toy, and even with shipping, it was still way cheaper than if I had tried to buy it on Scalper Bay.
I got on eBay and it wasn't bad. I think I paid $30.
It's gone down because a lot of people were able to get them at the Mattel store. But it was like 100 to 150 for a while there. And then they started popping up at the Mattel store. And then after that, the price started going down because, people who truly wanted them and would spend that kind of money was able to get them through Mattel. And so that's what happens, scalpers, when you artificially inflate the price of something. You have to bring it down now. Barbies are yes and no, Nolan. Their regular basic Barbie still has has less because they now have hard plastic legs, where for a really long time Barbie had those plastic legs that had the joints in them that you could bend. But they also have made to move Barbies, and those are a little bit more expensive, and those have extra articulations at the elbows and the knees. And I have one that's like made to move, but it's like a yoga Barbie. And I've got a couple with that body type. So it depends on the price point. There's, really basic $5 to $10 Barbies at the stores, very limited articulation, less than 80s Barbies had because of the knee thing. But if you spend more, you get more articulation. So that is the cool thing about Barbie, is that there are so many price points that they sell them at, so that they can basically whatever, like if you need a Barbie for your kid or for whatever, you're going to be able to find one within your budget. And so I do think for all, for the things I do complain about with Mattel, like I will say that as far as Barbie goes, they've been really good about sort of always keeping the family budget in mind, which is good. Now that, little girls won't be able to get 20 dolls, they'll have to just be happy with 2.
Gotta really rein in that Barbie budget.
Yeah. Sorry, you were spending $100 and getting like 20 Barbies. You can spend $100 now and get 2. Oh, poor guy. Poor guy. Yeah, it's really cool. At some point on the channel, I'm gonna, because I have a couple of the made to move Barbies that I bought to customize into various superheroes. And so once I do that, I will post some of the videos, and it'll have the articulation and stuff. So I'll make sure to share those in a place where you can see them. I'm hoping, I hope scalpers in general get discouraged. Like, yeah, again, like they make a lot of really cool, really pretty Barbies at different price points, and again, it's weird because I don't know that Masters of the Universe has the same kind of audience as Barbie does. I think that's some of the issue, is that doll collectors in general are a really specific breed of collector. They're kind of in line with, Hot Wheels, like they want everything really cheap, but at the same time, like Barbie collectors who are collect it all, like we'll spend hundreds of dollars on a single Barbie doll if it's well made. So all right, I just had to look up the ATST to see what's going on here. But yeah, I don't know. It's I had a friend in high school who was a Barbie collector, and she kept everything mint in box, never opened anything. And she had like a wall of Barbies, which, like, and it's interesting because her family wasn't particularly, they were poor. I don't want to say poor because it sounds rude, and it's not quite. They were lower middle class. Like things were tight, but they got by. But for every birthday and Christmas, she would ask for a Barbie doll. So she had like all of the classic. She had like Peaches and Cream Barbie. She had the one that could do the kiss, like that could kiss. She had Country and Western Barbie. She had Crystal Barbie. And she kept it all. She never took any of it out. And she had arranged it all against the wall, so that there was just this wall of Barbie when you went into her room. I think some of that was just she had a small bedroom, so it was like partly doing it that way, but it just was so cool. It was like almost like a toy store, but not quite, because it was just like literally, and she had like Tetrised it so they all fit, and it just filled the entire wall. It was really cool. And she had some of the fashions carded up. That's how I knew people would put carded figures like on the wall with thumbtacks, because she would do that. Oh yeah, no, Monster High has a huge, I think it helps that they're monsters. Like some of those are really cool. I definitely, like I've got as a kid I was 100% about Kenner. Like I wanted the Darcy doll, strawberry shortcake. I wanted Wonder Woman. Like I wanted all the sort of the Charlie's Angels dolls and stuff. I didn't quite like Barbie as a kid. Um, I grew to appreciate. I kind of wanted Barbie and the Rockers, but Gem was cooler. Um, but as I've gotten older, I've really started to appreciate just sort of what Barbie was, and also my mom really loved Barbie. When my mom and dad got married, she sold her childhood collection to help buy the wedding cake and get a wedding dress and money for the justice of the peace because I had to do it really quick before my dad was deployed to Vietnam. And she sold all of her original Barbie dolls, like all the originals that have the bendable knees. And she had Barbie and Ken and Midge and Skipper and a bunch of the clothes. And one of that first cardboard dream house, and she sold it all for like $20, which we all kind of go like, oh my God, what? But in 1970s money, that was like the equivalent now of like $200. And there weren't really collectors the way there are now. So the fact she got $20 for all of that, like, and she had the original boxes that they all went in, and so she had taken care of it and stuff. So like, she got pretty good money for the 70s. But because of that, that was partly why, as a kid, she would buy me multiple copies of Star Wars figures and sort of hammer home, like, try to take good care of these because if it's ever worth money, like, you could actually make money if you need to sell it to get a wedding dress and a cake so you can marry your husband before he goes away to Vietnam. I'm like, Mom, that's not going to happen. So,
Like every child goes through.
every child does it. That would be cool. Like I shouldn't custom that stuff. I need to, like, I can't wait. Again, I keep talking about it, but once I get my custom area set up, it's gonna be fun. Oh, let's see. Superstar Barbie is kind of she's the one who launched it all. Like, well, it was also when they debuted the new face sculpt that was for most of the 80s. Because I've let me grab her really quick. So this is not the Superstar face, but I did pick this was on sale at Entertainment Earth for like $10. So I got one, and it's gold medal Barbie from 75. But this is the face sculpt they used for Malibu Barbie. So this was like the redesign in the late, I want to say they redesigned the face sculpt in like 69. So like 77, 78, they redid it for the Superstar era. And that's the Barbie face that they used for the 80s. So that's the one most of us remember when we think of Barbie, because that was the Barbie of the 80s. So, and I've got a few of those that are not in great shape. They will get cleaned up and used for my doll soap opera. So, but yeah, like, I don't like some of the newer faces, and that's just because the newer faces are geared toward the current market. And again, as not a huge Barbie fan as a kid, my interest in Barbie is sort of picking up a few of the 80s ones. Although I will say I don't have a big drive to collect a lot of vintage Barbie. Buying the vintage coloring books for each of the Barbies has really satisfied the urge to not spend hundreds of dollars on Barbies. So, yeah, Monster High, it just looks really cool. Like, it looks like fun. I like that it's out there. I would imagine there are a lot of kids like I think if Monster High had been around when I was a kid instead as alongside Barbie, I probably would have been way more drawn to the monster stuff. Right? Malibu. Yeah, I got to say that to Dan Larson with Dan Larson present for the. I was very happy I got to drop the Adams Family. Malibu Barbie. It's not who I was. They had to go. What about Debbie? So anyway. Toy Tube highlight, getting to quote Adam's Family Values Debbie's speech on a toy stream about Star Wars with Dan Larson there. Never get any better than that. Yeah, good old Dan Larson. Anyway. Yeah, the reissues look pretty good. It's funny though, those reissues go for a lot of money, so. And Todd, I did not. I did not. I'll do it at the end. When we're exiting out, I'll drop the commercial. For those who missed it last night. Yeah, I went extra last night for the Oz stream because I'm just like, it's ridiculous. Like, let's go big or go home, I guess. But yeah, we'll end with the commercial because I haven't deleted it from my media thing on here. However, one thing that will be with us forever.
You're a mess, Carl.
And then
Everybody's so creative.
Bring out the
Nobody cares, Moby. Nobody cares. No one.
I like that there's the actually no one at the end. Anyway. So yeah, and as I get, further on my YouTube journey, I'm getting closer to being a real YouTuber. I've got ridiculous sound clips.
Gotta have the sound clips.
Gotta have the sound clips.
I actually had a soundboard prepared for when I got to guest host GDL with Quip.
Yeah.
And I didn't get one opportunity to use a single button.
Oh no. What were your sounds?
Well, I had I had the You've Got Family, I've got the He Got Two. I had the GDL Classics on standby.
Classic GDL. And then nobody got to hear them.
Not a single person got a membership that night.
That was a fun night. Everyone's like, what's happening here? Where's Jay?
Which is like, that was like the third week or something that Jay wasn't on.
Right? There was an announcement. I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks. Quip is going to man the ship while I'm gone. Oh, people.
I tried my best to be as Jay-like as possible. I mean, I didn't use my alter ego that I created for the situation. Glad filler.
You should have. That's what was missing.
Yeah.
People would have been like, oh, it must be Jay's twin brother.
It's me, Jeb Gab filler.
They would have loved it. It's funny, one of the last times Ken was on there, Ken of Toy Connections, somebody went in the comments was like, not Ken. And I was just like, that's really rude. I laughed because at the same time, it was not like, it was rude, but it wasn't like mean, super mean. It was like, not Ken.
I had to be Ken.
Right? It was just like, oh my God, it's so like, when you're 12 and your mom's like, oh, your Aunt Gladys is coming over. It's like, not Aunt Gladys. She's the worst. I hate her.
So there was a Chuck E. Cheese commercial where the kids got a terrible babysitter,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh no, not Mrs." And I'm not going to say the last name
Right.
because it's my last name, and my
Oh.
mom hated that commercial because the idea of any kid being mad to see a Mrs. was upsetting to her.
Aw.
Coloring upside down. Doo, boo, boo.
Oh, poor Ken. Not Ken.
Ken's a nice guy. I've gotten to spend a little bit of time with him
Well,
in the
it's,
real
it's
world.
funny though, because when Ken asked me, well, yeah, I found it because Ken was like, "Oh, look at this! Somebody doesn't like me," and Ken was like, and then Ken told me like, whoever it is, like, well, literally anytime Ken is on a live stream, a guy will go into the comments and comment, not Ken."
That's awesome.
So I'm not entirely sure it's a real troll and it's not just somebody cheesing on Ken. But it was just funny. Not Ken. I haven't ever seen any of his other comments in the wild, but yeah, it's pretty funny. Oh yeah, Ken does good work. Yeah, no, Ken makes great videos. I like his stuff quite a bit. I just think it's funny that anyone would have that reaction to Ken because he's so like the opposite of controversial. Like,
You know what? Ken used his YouTube fame to get us into a secret sale back room, so that was cool.
it just boggles the mind that somebody would like, not Ken. And it's like, why? What has this man ever done? It's probably the same guy who complains anytime Ken accidentally mispronounces something or doesn't do like a full tangent to properly explain something.
It's the creator of the toy line Charlie 16 who's upset that
Right.
Delta 17 one upped him.
He's like, you stole my toy line. Ken. Anyway. We got him to spend for a really long time last night. I was afraid he was going to be sick. And the whole time I put the Bring Out the Olives on repeat. So it was pretty good. Yeah, exactly. That's I get again. This is why it's comical, but also just baffling. Like, because Ken is like so nice. You know, exactly.
My headphones. That was awful.
Like, I don't know. It baffles the mind. Somebody's like, not Ken. Like, are we talking about, have you mistaken him for a different Ken? This doesn't sound like the Ken we all know. But, that could also be, it could just be an a-hole, and Ken is nice and likable and makes good content, and there are people who have issues with that. Those who cannot make snarky comments in a YouTube comment section. And drive a Cybertruck. Okay. It's been too long since I've made fun of a Cybertruck.
That will not stand.
Well, exactly, like, because it's made out of like tinfoil and it'll break. But I saw one of those in the wild, and we're in a very rural area, and it's not the most, the poverty line where we live is pretty low, and it's like I can't think of anyone in our area who could actually afford that car without having to go into debt for it. And I'm just like, and I would have the same thought if they were driving like a Lincoln Town Car or something. It's like, do not go into debt to buy a vehicle. Not with how they're made now. You know, like back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you could put in, you know, drop a nice chunk of change on a car and you would have it for 10 to 15 years. But they don't make any cars anymore that are going to last longer than 5 to 10 years. Do not go into debt on a car where it's like you're going to pay it off the same year you have to go and replace it for something better. Or not even better, just something new that's not falling apart. So that's Allison's advice on buying a car. Any brand. Not spend a lot of money if you're going to have to buy a new one in 5 to 10 years. But don't rent them because that's throwing your money away. So, anyway. Well, it's true, Adam. Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. Yeah, it does. And I don't understand that because when people don't like me, I'm like, I live in your head now. You will never escape. And then I do the evil laugh.
I fundamentally run on spite, so you're just feeding me.
Oh, yeah, no. I literally, like, I dated a guy one time out of spite because, like, it pissed people off. And I dated him for a really long time, even though I did not like him from day one. Like, from the first day, I was like, this guy is the worst. The worst. But 2 years. 2 years to prove the point. And then we broke up, and he went back to one of the girls who like talked the most smack about me. And she sent me a message. It was like, I got him back. Went on and on and on. And then my only response to her was just like, just remember this, honey. Every time you kiss him, you get a little taste of me. And she did not ever reply to me after that. That killed the conversation. So they're probably married now with kids. I mean, he was mostly nice. He was just boring. Boring. Alex, you were pulling weeds. Exactly.
needed you
Ken's
to.
awesome. I know, CJ. I'm not always the nicest person, but I'm always a good person. I'm just not always a nice person. I should look them up and then remind her in the send her a message to remind her that it's still the truth, that every time she kisses him. DNA is forever, madam.
If I've learned anything from the last 4 years, DNA is a big deal.
Yeah, it's totally. So. That'll be good. I'm sure that's what she needs to remember today, too. I'll look her up right after this.
It's the memorial she needed this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, what is she doing otherwise? She's probably making potato salad that she's going to put raisins in, and anything I can do to stop that.
You're actually saving people.
I'm
You're doing
saving
a service.
people. Yeah. I am reminding her to be humble. And she was feeling too full of herself, too full of life. And she'll try to clap back, as she always does. And I'll just send the sure Jan emoji. I say as she may not even be here anymore. It's possible that time and karma have finally done its work and helped her pass to the next incarnation.
Look down and thank her for all the memories.
Yeah, I'm gonna look down at the ground and hope she has s'mores and marshmallows to make her days more pleasant. And I'll crank some Enya and sail away. Yeah, I am gonna look her up now. Thanks, Internet, Chris, and chat for going on that journey with me to realize I need to reach out to an old friend, see how her day is going, and do my best to improve it. She also hates the word moist, so I'm going to have to make sure to change my profile picture back to moist on Facebook before I message her. So not only does it, like when she opens it, not only is it the message, but then it says like moist right next to it.
Really, really rub some salt in that wound.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say, like I tell anyone, never tell me you don't like something like the word moist, because then you're like, I will always remember that and I'm not going to let that go.
You're actually helping her. It's exposure therapy.
Yeah, really. Like, she will be a better person when I'm done with her. You know, the art of dumping people, it depends on the person. Sometimes you just like, oh my God, I need to go to Texas for like a few days for a work thing. And then when you get to Texas, you call them and you're like, hey, I moved to Texas. We're broken up. Thanks. Have a good life. Yeah, exactly. I'm too sweet to be wholesome. I just, I've learned how to survive and adapt to a world that's not always kind. And I've learned to make that work for me. And I always focus my energies toward bad people. So I would never do that to somebody who was nice. Oh no, I even slipped into the cadence I used when I talked to her. I think we all know. Like condescending mom on the high fructose corn syrup commercial voice. You must not really care about your kids if you're going to feed them that. Wow. You just let them eat whatever. Cool, bro.
Oh, I would never feed my child. Only
Oh my
Jif for
God.
us.
Still breastfeeding your child 7. What? That's a choice. But if you're happy. I for the record, I didn't know anyone who breastfed until they were 7.
That would be a choice.
Yeah, that would be a big choice. It would be an odd choice. I do have an ex who never stopped kissing his mom's ass, but that's a completely different circumstance. There we go. Oh, wow. There's so much you're doing. I'm going to put you on solo really quick, Chris. Because
Oh,
I just
alright.
looked up to see how nice your page is looking. Okay, so remember when we started doing this and you were like, I don't know what I'm doing really. Like
Yeah.
you have gotten some really gorgeous texture on the Qui-Gon Jenn's robe. Like there's some nice texture and it looks like you've used more than one color there.
I have in fact used 3.
See, remember? You were like, I'll never be really that great at this. And here you are, like almost 2 years later. Blend in, using colors. You're an artist now.
Everyone's so creative.
Right. Wait.
Everybody's so creative.
There we go. No, it looks really good. You're doing great. And the non-sarcastic one. See, even CJ agrees. Oh wait, that's a different one. See, and CJ is a real artist, unlike myself. He actually draws and creates and paints stuff. I just color other people's art. So, I will admit there is something artistic to what I do, but I don't consider this like full-on real art. Like, we'll save that for the end of June when I drop my Blade Runner shorts. Because of the 4 Blade Runner shorts, 3 of them are art by me. So, one of them my friend drew for me, but it's really cool. So, why am I doing Blade Runner shorts when there was no toy lines for Blade Runner? Because I effing want to, people. I said, I've had these for like a year and a half now, and I said, when I hit monetization, and I don't have to worry so much about whether or not YouTube shows my stuff to people, just for me, I'm going to do these Blade Runner shorts because it's such a cool movie. It's the one time Sean Young's inability to act worked for the character. I actually almost became a movie reviewer because of Sean Young. And I say this because I was reading People magazine when her movie A Kiss Before Dying came out. And the review opened like this. In A Kiss Before Dying, Sean Young plays twins, neither of whom can act. And I'm like, this is the job for me. Like, I need to do this job. I mean, the rest of the review was spot on, but literally, neither of whom can act. And I was like, this, not only is the grammar proper, like they used whom correctly, but it's a pretty wicked burn. And I got to use that later whenever James Woods and I got onto it one time on Twitter, where I was like, wow, how does it feel knowing you got outacted by Sean Young in the boost? Think about that. Sean Young outacted you. We all know she can't act. However,
Glorious.
that's not the one he blocked me for. He blocked me for when I was like, how does it feel knowing you couldn't act your way into a paper bag, much less out of one? That's what got me blocked. No, James Woods. So thin-skinned. I was feeling very high on myself. That was the week I got Roger Stone kicked off of Twitter, though. So
Not man's man James Wood.
right, James Woods. Yeah. It was when what's her name? And the actress who played she was on Jane the Virgin and Amber Tamblyn. She had come out about how when she was 16, he really inappropriately made a pass at her, and she was like, I'm 16. And he was like, I know. And he just never addressed that. He just ignored it. And I'm like, that's how you know it happened. So after that, I'm like, he's dead to me. Like, there's a lot I will overlook, but when he knew she was 16 and he still hit on her and her friend, like, when he's like ancient, he's older than I am. I was like, no, I'm not gonna let you. And like, ironically, with Roger Stone, it was because he kept telling Rosie O'Donnell and J.K. Rowling that they were too fat. I'm like, sir, we're not gonna do that. You can disagree with these people, you know, and please do, but don't do it by calling them fat.
Not even a good comeback.
Yeah, right. That was his whole like you fat bitches, and I'm just like, sir, there are so many better ways you could roast Joanne than calling her fat. Like, come on. And the audacity of that man making me defend J.K. Rowling. But I'm not gonna let somebody fat shame. anyone like that, because that's just not. I mean, you could make fun of her entire personality, and I would have let that happen. Been like, okay, you've got a point. Yeah. Exactly, CJ. Exactly. Oh my God, Alex, I have nightmares about that. I have nightmares about that. And you are welcome, CJ. Every time I see your art on Blue Sky, yeah, it's Blue Sky. Sorry, I'm just excited. It's art. Exactly. Like, and that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna, like make an argument against somebody, like, don't do it because of their weight. Again, I defended both of them, and that's not something I would normally do. Like, but it was just like, no, we're not doing this today, Roger Stone. And then he told me I needed to move back to Sweden.
He got you good on that one, didn't he?
Yeah, I was just like, what are you even talking about? But here's the kicker. I didn't know who he was. And then he got banned for his comments because he got pretty spicy. I didn't get pictures of all of his spicy comments to me. And then I went on Facebook. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but he needs to watch it. And people are like, oh my God, what? And then they broke down who he was. And I'm like, oh my God, what? I should have, then I was like, I would not have gone there because as somebody who studied Watergate, I'm like, you don't necessarily, eventually the venereal disease will take care of him. You just need to sit back and let it happen. Yeah, I don't see. That's the thing. I don't know where he got that. I'm wondering if he Googled Allison Troy and got somebody else, like possibly. So, yeah, but fuck Tom Selleck. He steals old people's homes. I mean, like, she shouldn't have gone about it that way, but I don't like Tom Selleck. He's got problems, and it's mainly stealing old people's homes. Like, he speaks for that. I worked briefly for that reverse mortgage company, and behind the scenes, it's a little bit different than what they say in the commercials. Like, their whole philosophy is these people will not be able to pay it back. So when they die, we'll be able to get it and screw their kids out of their inheritance, basically, is what it boils down to. So technically, they don't take it while the old person lives there, but the goal is when the old person dies that they're going to get the house because the old person and their estate won't be able to pay back what they owe. So it's basically a really sinister, diabolical house flipping scheme. So I worked there long enough to get the paid training. And the first call I had to make, I was like, hi, I'm Allison. I'm calling from this company and we want to steal your house. So they walked me out, but I still got paid for like 4 weeks of paid training. So, because there's no way I could have done that job. But yeah, so Tom Selleck back when that happened, different story, but modern day Tom Selleck, like, I kind of wish Rosie O'Donnell would attack him again. This time in a ring with boxing gloves, fight to the death.
2 celebrities enter 1 lead.
Well, I don't know if we can really call either of them celebrities anymore, but
Well, former celebrities? I don't know.
yeah, there we go. 2 stars of the 80s and 90s. There we go. Because we don't want to mislead people who might want to watch it. When we say celebrities, they're going to be like, oh, they're getting Taylor Swift and Chappell Roan. And then they turn it on, it's Rosie O'Donnell and Tom Selleck. And they're like, who are these old people? I don't know who that is. Do the kids even know who Tom Selleck is, other than the guy who tries to steal their grandma's home? And since they're millennials, that's the only way they're ever going to own a house. When my grandma dies, I'll have a house. And then Tom Selleck is like, not so fast, Brittany, with 2 I's and a Y, and none of that's where it should be.
Not where you think it is.
And I'm gonna get really mad when I go to Starbucks and they spell Brittany the real way. My mother's exotic choices and vowel placement matters. And my cousin was having her baby. She was like, I want to name him Sage. And I'm like, Sage. And she's like, no, everybody is spelling it that way. So I'm going to spell it Sayeggge. And I'm like, don't do that. But it's so cool. I want him to stand out. I'm like, you don't want to stand out that way. Like, that's stupid.
Oh, hey, look, it's Sag.
Right. No teacher will ever pronounce that correctly. Well, I'm going to homeschool him. I'm like, you're not going to pronounce that correctly either. You can barely pronounce half of your words anyway, ma'am. You were homeschooled. I know people who homeschool and it's done correctly, but if it's my family, let me tell you, they are homeschooling strictly so that they can keep their kids stupid. Brittany. I see Brittany, if she spells her name this way, you are definitely gonna make your kid be a horse girl.
Oh yeah, my ex-sister-in-law was a named by a horse, Brittany.
Was she a horse girl?
Maybe, I don't know, but it was straight up Brittany.
Renee. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. I was always surprised, and this is not meant as a sort of rudely or anything, but I was always surprised anytime one of the horse girls from high school turned out to not be a lesbian. Like, I always felt legitimately shocked and sort of disappointed in them.
Were they even trying?
Right, like, ma'am, your entire identity was like going to rodeos and riding horses, and now you're gonna marry a man? What are you doing? Are you okay? And they'd be like, no, I just like men. I'm like, are we sure?
What in the Temple Grandin is happening here?
Right? What in the Melissa Etheridge has happened to you? And you start humming Come to My Window to see if, like, and then their foot starts tapping. You're like, just, we know it's okay. Just don't do it. Just go out and get on your horse and ride into the night, Amber. Stephanie with 2 F's and no PH. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry, you guys. This is really spiraled today, but whatever.
Also, when naming your child, use this phrase first to make sure it works. Now on the main stage.
Right. Mm-hmm. I do have a cousin who named their son Grandin. And you're thinking, oh, like Brandon? No. I'm going to spell it in chat. Anyway. And Grandin is definitely going to end up on the stage at Chippendales at some point. So if you ever go to Chippendales, people at home listening, and you're like, no, taking the stage, Grandin. That's my cousin's kid. So like my 4th or 5th cousin.
So,
And
throw a couple bucks their way.
Yeah, throw a couple bucks, but no, we're proud. Like, he's living the dream. He's chasing it. Right, exactly, CJ, exactly. Oh my God, I mean, of all the spellings you could do, like I would have accepted Grandin with a O-N, or even just a Y and 1 N. Like, It's not the worst, but it just spiraled so quickly.
Oh, okay. So I finally looked at the chat here. That is clearly the name of a lesser dragon.
Yeah, right. They did watch a lot of her husband is a D&D person. And not cool. You would expect somebody who plays D&D to be cooler than he is, and unfortunately no. And then she's in an MLM.
Okay, that checks.
So like that I think balances out the D&D thing.
I felt really bad because I had some friends get sucked into an MLM, and like they were. So I went over there with a friend, and they were gonna pitch him on the MLM. And halfway through, I'm like, this is a pyramid scheme. And they're like, nuh-uh. And then, not 10 seconds later, a pyramid appeared on screen.
Right. They're like, no, it's a multi-level marketing opportunity. It's funny. One of my worst bullies in high school, about 10 years ago, sent me a thing like, hey, Basti, we should hang out. And I'm like, hey, Basti, I'm in Oregon. And she was like, no, well, we're coming up there pretty soon for like seminar thing. Like, we should hang out. And I was like, I guess, because I'm just, because sometimes people friend you on Facebook who are shitty to you in high school, and you're just kind of like, well, maybe they've changed. And I will accept those friend requests so I can see how badly they've aged and how unhappy they are. It helps. And so I did. I went and met with her for coffee when she was up here, and I was just like, oh, Amway, that's a choice.
Think of the classic.
It's how I was able to travel up here. I'm like, so how many people do you have under you? And she's like, oh my God, well, I've got like total like 100 people. It's like, oh, so that's how come you're able to, have all your free time to travel to seminars. She didn't come up here for Amway though. She came up here for another one because she's wanting to diversify. And she's like, there's nobody up here in Oregon that's selling this right now. You would be able to get in right at the beginning and build an entire team. I'm like, this is already too much work. But I did let her pay for the coffee and the cake pop. If you're getting Starbucks, you should always get a cake pop. So anyway, she unfriended me not long after that because I didn't want to be under her pyramid and help her take over Oregon with the non-Amway MLM. Which is weird because usually they don't let you join. Like if you're in one, you're not usually supposed to join another because they're afraid about poaching. So I'm not sure how she was working around that. But there was a hurricane and they lost everything. So God's on that one.
No one ever thanks God for when bad things happen.
Let me correct this. They didn't lose quite everything, but she had this horrible sofa set, and it was like burnt orange and pastel blue. And she posted on Facebook what had happened. She was like, "Oh my God, this living room set that's been in our family for 30 years, destroyed." And when I don't drink a lot anymore, and some of it is because whether or not you realize it or not, I'm very filtered usually, and my filter was not in place because I'd had too many vodka martinis. And she was like, this set that's been in our family for 30 years was destroyed. Oh my God. And I just put in there, like, you should be grateful. Those are hideous. So. And they were they were bad. But at the same time, I probably shouldn't have made fun of her suffering. Because now she has to buy a new couch that doesn't look like
that might be comfortable.
Somebody skinned a Muppet and made sofa. and chairs and a table. That's Grover's bones, ma'am.
He wasn't feeling so super that day.
All right. Yeah, I know. It's okay, Alex. It's okay, Alex. It's good whenever Sage is spelled normally. Right. All right, we're caught up on chat. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Oh, we're almost to 2 hours, but I'm pretty close to being done. How close are you to being done, Chris?
I'm laying down my base background color.
Okay. So do you care if we go just a little bit longer to
Oh no, that's fine by
okay.
me.
I just want to check. So guys, not only did I stream for like 4.5, 5 hours last night, but we're gonna go a little long today so I can finish the Wookiee and Chris can finish his background. Here at Allison Troy Retro Toy Princess, we are giving you the most live streaming content that you have ever got from a hybrid coloring toy channel ever. I think I'm the only one, so I think I can back that up with reality.
So years ago I pitched the idea of doing a YouTube channel that was just called like Nothing Else Is On with Chris. Just because the whole pitch is it's the only thing I'm on.
Yeah. That would be cool though. I did manage to do these trees without talking about wood, without the wood of it all, which is an accomplishment because I'm working on a Goonies page on my Friday solo streams, where there's been an intense amount of wood grain discussion, so much so that I thought I should start a second channel devoted just to wood grain in coloring books. But I did manage to get through the Chewbacca and the trees of this without discussion of wood grain. Yeah, we're going into an extra inning. Not much of one, but we are just a little bit. You know, and there are enough of you here right now that let's do it. We haven't chased everyone off.
Drink another 3 cents out of this stream.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for that 3 cents. Between the stream last night and this stream, I'll make 7 cents this week in repeat. The most profitable YouTube weekend you have ever had, Allison. No, it's cool. I mean, like somebody was like, that's not very much money. I'm excited when I get paid 2 or 3 cents for something I did. I'm so used to any sort of artist or creator being undervalued that like even pennies is like exciting. Somebody is paying creators. And if I started doing dramage content, you won't believe what Chris Plastic over at Shiny Plastic People today said. Let's cancel him, but don't send any hate to anyone we talk about in this video. I could probably make a lot of money.
Right. He made Aunt Beru kiss Dexter Jetster.
Right. What is even that? I can't even believe it. And yet people still let him on YouTube. We need a petition at change.org. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and go buy the merch. We've got t-shirts that say, how dare you, Chris? I have jokingly thought about doing an occasional like humor video where it's just making fun of all the trends on YouTube.
So I've considered a couple times doing like a Halloween or an April Fool's joke where I just straight up cover another channel. Like I just do their entire like package everything just on my own channel. Just
That
like
would be
wearing a costume.
hilarious. You should do that with Geek Dad Life. I bet that would, and do sort of the name change of it.
You're watching Gleek bread loaf.
Yeah. And Jay would find that hilarious, I bet. Because he's got a really good sense of humor about stuff like that. It would be hilarious, actually. I thoroughly encourage that. And you've even got a setup where you could even like do like a coloring video or something. I think, and this is sort of, you know, a lot of the channels I've been watching, it's like, I've kind of been missing when YouTube was fun and irreverent. Like, you know, like I've talked ad nauseum about how cool Rowdy Ryle's Secret Wars video is, where she tells the story of the original Secret Wars miniseries using all of her Marvel Legends action figures. But it's fun. Like, it's cool. It's creative. It's like, I want to see way more of that on YouTube than I do like YouTube creators talking about tariffs, or, you know, despite all the whining we've done about Todd McFarlane today, I don't watch a lot of whining about Todd McFarlane content because I just need stuff to be, I want stuff to be entertaining. It's like, my whole goal with the bulk of my coloring videos is like, I want you to come in and listen to the whatever free to use synthwave I've picked for the week. Watch the coloring and have a good time. Like, you know, chill out, relax, or, you know, sometimes they're a little bit more actiony, but like, I don't know. As much smack as I talk on these live streams, like, the goal of my channel is to actually have people be able to just sort of enjoy stuff. Which is why you won't believe what Chris Plastic is doing this week. He's stealing other people's ideas for his channel. Let's watch this video where he completely redoes everything from Geek Dad Live, except he gives it different names. That's next year. Next year for April Fools, let's get people together and figure out some ridiculous fun stuff we could do, where everyone makes some sort of comedy video.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. And just no rules other than like something that speaks to your sense of humor.
And, you know, don't be like mean spirited about it. Like, just be goofy.
Yeah. That's a good point, Alex. There hasn't been an ad break yet. Not complaining. I'm just, because I have one of the screens pulled up that it plays out on, and I have not yet done an ad break there either. Anyway, not gonna complain. Maybe they've decided after all this smack talk earlier that this one's not eligible for monetization. And that's cool. Like, good for them. No, I went in and set the I actually changed the ad settings around, because you can't stop ads, but you can change how often. And I went in and picked mid-roll. So if you haven't been watching for the full 2 hours, then you won't get a mid-ad roll until you hit the midpoint of the video. Or if you have been watching the whole thing and already got a mid-ad roll, then you won't get another one until like the end of the stream. But also because they don't, with the live stream and there's no set time for it on the YouTube side of things, they don't know where to stick so every so often they'll just say, okay, well, here's a good place to go. So With live streams, you usually will get the ad when you first pop in, and then sometimes at the end. But mostly during the live process, not so much. So, but I went in and fixed it so that they only do mid-rolls. There's an option where you can go and select each and every one of the ads, and then one where you just let them pick whatever. For the coloring videos and the toy booklet commercials, I'm just letting them put those wherever, because there's no real natural breaking point for any of those. And for the toy history stuff and the coloring book flip throughs, I've gone and set ads on those. And ironically, because everything filmed this month was filmed before I made AdSense, it's filmed the old way, but I've been for videos that'll start appearing in late June, early July. I've actually been planning how to film them so I can go in and set ads on each of them so they're less disruptive. So again, this is why it's good to be sort of a small channel that got to monetization before I blew up. So I have a little leeway to sort of figure all of that out. The big channels that hit immediately and went super big before you could figure it out don't have as much time to figure all that stuff out. So, and all my old videos should just do the one at the beginning, the one midway through, and one at the end. So, and that's unavoidable. You can't opt out of ads if you're in the partner program. It used to be where you could turn video ads off for some of your videos, but they don't even allow that anymore, it looks like. So anyway, it's a work in progress. If you get weird videos, I can pick what kind of videos they put on the channel. Feel free to message me through one of the social medias. I'm on Instagram, either under Retro Toy Princess or Allison of Troy. And I'm also on Blue Sky. Feel free to message me and let me know that you got a weird. I've opted out of all political ads, so you shouldn't get any political ads of any kind. And I opted out of medications so that they're not telling you that if you take this, you might get diarrhea really bad.
Oh, I think if I ever monetize, that's all I'm gonna use.
Yeah, like it was a hard decision, but because yeah, just because I take a lot of meds for various like I don't need you telling me, I know how medicine works. And
Dear sir or madam, I have all the meds.
yeah, right, I don't need you. And I have several members of my audience that are on various meds for various things, so I just like, let's not, because if you have a thing, they advertise a pill that works for that thing, you change meds and you have a bad time, even though it's not my fault, I'm still going to feel guilty. So I'm just not going to go there. At one point, they were advertising some Barney thing before my videos that I was like, no, not Barney.
Now you're part of Big Dinosaur.
Yeah, I'm part of Big Dinosaur. I opted out of Big Pharma, guys, but I couldn't opt out of Big Dinosaur.
Everything's funnier if you had big in front of it.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the health influencers I follow who doesn't make up shit and try to sell you meal programs and powders and basically doesn't lie to you about food stuff. For a while there was an ongoing joke about Big Carrot because she had a recipe and she was just using the non-organic carrots And somebody came in hot in the comments like, oh my God, like how could you tell people to eat those carrots? They're not organic. They're full of chemicals. And she just, and in the process of her setting them straight, she was like, yeah, I know big carrot's really scary to you. I just died. I died. It was just so funny. Like the difference between regular and organic food is mostly just extra stickers and extra steps.
Right. Nothing certifies organic. They just come in and say, hey, it's organic.
Yeah, they stick a sticker on it. You have to use certain things to grow it, but it doesn't make. And I used to be a clean eating fanatic, and I spent a lot of money being a clean eating fanatic. And then I went to a real nutritionist who broke it all down for me, who actually had a college degree and had gone through classes and worked at a hospital that helped people prepare for various gastric bypass type surgeries, where you have to give them accurate information so that they can take off the weight they need to take off to qualify for those surgeries. And she broke it all down. She's like, it's just a marketing thing. It's the way some companies can make more money. She's like, again, we're in Oregon, so our situation's a little different because most of our grocery stores buy from local farmers, and Oregon has a lot more strict regulations about growing food and stuff. So we're fortunate. Like I have some privilege here that you might not have if you're like in Chicago or New York City or whatever. So I do also caveat anything I'm about to say with that. But for the most part, like get the regular stuff that's cheaper because the difference is negligible. And like I was all afraid of pesticides, and she's like, the pesticides they use, yeah, it has stuff in it. She's like, but it's in such a small dose that you don't need to worry about it as long as you're washing your vegetables before you eat them. So now I eat more vegetables because I can afford to buy more vegetables. And we're growing vegetables, so pretty soon I'll have cucumbers from my own backyard. And we got those from big potting soil, so full of chemicals, y'all. Oh, and it looks like my camera died.
Uh-oh.
So that means it has been the time where my phone is like, hey, I'm dead. Oh my gosh, we are also like 20 minutes over.
Wow.
So, really quickly, I'm gonna get the camera back up there and I'm almost done, so. But we've come this far, let's go. Let's ride the train all the way to the end, y'all. And there it is. All right, sorry about that, everyone. Excellent, there we go. And literally almost done, so. And Chris is also almost done, so. Excellent timing. Sorry about that. Alex, I fully support that. Let me know.
If you need anything to outrage about, just let me know. I can provide something. It's a service I provide.
Right. Yeah, can't see the Wookiee for the trees. Now let's let the paint dry. So I have these new markers. These are not the ones I normally use, just so you all know. I have not determined how much I like them or not yet. I'm leaning toward them being pretty awesome. If it ends with that, I will stick them down in the Amazon affiliate area. The one thing I do like about them is they have a brush tip. So, which is cool because it gives me a lot more control. I actually did an entire short using them the other day of Miss Pac-Man. Not a single color pencil. So they're pretty good, but I still, I want to play with them more before I'm like, yeah, these are good. You should try them. What I liked most is they weren't expensive as well. So
That's a quality I enjoy in many products.
yeah, I obviously have sort of all the fancy pencils and stuff, but I like finding a good inexpensive product that works well. And part of the reason I have some of the more expensive pencil sets is because sometimes you just need the nicer set. But also, I've also, through the channel, because I'm like, well, let me try some sets. I found a couple really good budget sets. So. Again, that's what I'm still doing, even though, like, the videos where I'm like, let me try this pencil set. Those don't always do as well as other stuff. That's why I still do them, though, because I'm still enjoying the process of those. All right. I think I need... Let's give Chewie a little bit more pink in his lips. Pink, mama. And their breasts. Every woman has them. They'll see your dirty pillows.
All right.
And that's it. Chris finished right at the dirty pillow mark. He's like, I'm done. I'm out. We're done. I'll put up with a lot, but not dirty pillows.
How dare you?
Sorry, Chris. I didn't mean to call out your dirty pillows that way. Yeah, let's see, the Miss Pac-Man short. Oh, I can't look because the phone is dead. I believe it's the first short in June, I think. I think it's like June 3rd or 4th. The first weekday short. So Sunday, I think it's June 3rd, or it's June 3rd or June 4th. I've already uploaded and scheduled it so that I don't have to worry about it. Just go laugh. But yeah, I used all those brush tip paint markers for the whole thing. So see how it goes. All right. Right, yeah. The Dirty Pillow Club, in effect. That could be the name of your outreach channel, Alex. Dirty Pillow Club. Here we're airing all the laundry, including the dirty pillows. You won't believe what Chris Plastic has done this week. You need to cancel him, y'all.
I just hope I'm just like dropping a jar of pickles in the kitchen and just like trying to slide it under something. Like,
Picture of you at the grocery store and you put like a thing of like Chips Ahoy back, but it's in the sock section of the store. It's the cookies and the socks, and just keep going.
Just really minimal outrage.
Right? Alex, if you do the dirty pillow club, we're airing the dirty laundry, including the dirty pillows. I offer to do like a sound clip where I say he's an asshole, so you can use that.
You're a mess, Carl.
See, it's that easy.
Everybody's so creative.
Just like that.
Just like that. But me, saying he's an asshole.
Bring out the officer.
All right, it looks like Chris is done and I am done. So let me quickly put you in solo so everyone can see your amazing art. That looks really good, Chris. Again, you even put some red shading on Darth Maul's glove. Like, sir, you picked up the basic tenets of good art. Like, I'm impressed. I'm so proud of you, Chris. You have come so far. You were just a kid with a dream when you arrived, and now you have become a coloring superstar.
It's true. I used to be in my 30s. Now I'm in my 40s, and I've grown.
Oh, and not in the way you're thinking, Alex. I love it, Alex. I'm in. All right, and really quickly, let me show you my Chewbacca. There we go. We've got Chewie and a ass. Not bad. His eyes are a little lost, but that's just kind of the nature of it from the distance. I'll take a picture and put it on Instagram. I'll try to do a close-up on his face so you can all see. All right. Let's see. And there's Chris, and then I guess I should. There we go. And we're back. Oh, I'm glad I saved you from my hairline today. I should have washed my hair this morning before the stream. But sorry, y'all. I'm on here with greasy hair. Hear all about it on the Dirty Pillow Club. They're bringing the dirty laundry, my dirty hair, and all the dirty pillows. Send Alex super chats to own the lips.
Everybody's so creative.
There we go. And on that note, Chris, what do you have coming up for the people to go watch, or what should people go watch that you already have?
Well, I think they should definitely check out my May the Power of the Force review of Dexter Jettster if you want to see some dirty cheating between one Aunt Beru and Dexter Jettster.
You know, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Heartily recommend. Fine holiday fun. So there is that.
There is that. I've got nothing planned immediately, but you never know. I've got plenty of stuff to record. Excellent.
And as always, you will be back here either next month or in July. Like how it all lines up, we don't know. But Chris is sort of like the Joan River. No, I can't do that because that would be taking the Joan River status from Andrew. You're like Conan O'Brien before he had his own show when he would guest spot and stuff. He's a regular guest. Thank you, Pod Racing, for Palpatine, and thanks for popping in and suffering through the extreme digression from Star Wars to us just being unhinged. It's appreciated. We're not for everyone. Much like Common Sense and Moby. Poor Moby. Anyway, what do I have? Yeah, it's Sunday. So tomorrow I have I finished a Star Wars coloring book a few weeks back. So I've got the complete video tomorrow, so you can see all of my completed pages. I do a flip through, and I have a Darth Vader page I color at the end of it. And not gonna lie, you guys, this is one of my favorite pages I've ever done. Like, it came out so good. I'm like, I didn't do that. It was magic. It was God. It was the Force all working through me. The ghost of TV's Marky Post came and colored this page. So it's really good. I'm super proud of it. All joking aside, please watch it. Also on Wednesday, I have a premiere. We're diving into the history of Kenner Toys, and we're focusing on their Dip Dots product from the Kenner Coloring Corner. There is a little bit of a Star Wars slant to it because, you know, I know of it because for Christmas 1977, when you couldn't buy Star Wars action figures, you could get Dip Dots. So I do a flip through of a vintage Dip Dots book, and I color a page at the end of it. And I challenged myself to only use the colors that you had in the Dip Dot set. I still use my fancy adult coloring pencil stuff, but I did limit my color range. And then on Thursday, we're doing our special retro cavalcade with guest star Quip and then Derek and Andrew. And we're going to do it as if it's 1999 and somebody has leaked the episode 1 toys. And we're going to talk about the episode 1 toys like it's Toy Tube in 1999. So
That's a lot of fun.
it's going to be a lot of fun. It might be a hot mess, so tune in. If I can find my wig that looks like my 1999 hair, I'll even be in a wig for the night. And then I've got my contributions to the May the Power of the Force will drop next week. So exactly. Yep. Exactly. And on that note, I'm going to head out. I'm Allison Troy, Retro Toy Princess. I appreciate you all for hanging out today and putting up with 2 streams closely back to back. And I'm going to leave you with this one last thought. And, you know.
You're a mess, Carl.
So if you're Carl and you're watching, it's all still true. So I'll see you in the next one. We're Audi 500. Let's get into the 90s. Audi 500, y'all. Oh my God. Ridiculous.
Everybody's so creative.